For thousands of years, humans have altered the desert's resources to improve the way things grow, crops from corn to cotton. But the limits of nature are being expanded farther than ever before. Tonight we visit a very different kind of farm, a farm growing perhaps the last thing you'd think of in a desert. Ted Robbins has the story.
Pumping water from the depths of the earth, we've made the desert bloom in 100 unexpected ways. This young wheat, for instance, is native to a wetter climate than this field near Gila Bend. So is the crop growing inside that greenhouse in the distance, way wetter. Hundreds of miles from an ocean, aquaculturalists here are growing shrimp, big shrimp.
She weighs 52 grams.
That's about twice as large as a shrimp you'd normally eat. But these particular shrimp are not for eating. Not at $25 to $50 a piece.
These will be used for hatcheries, and they will fertilize and mate the animals and produce post-larvae, which will go out to numerous farms, and they will stock their farms with these post-larvae that come from these animals.
And these are going to Taiwan?
These are going to Taiwan.
Right now, the Wood Brothers farm imports shrimp itself in the spring from Hawaii or the Texas Gulf Coast and raises them in large outdoor ponds. The ponds are being readied for this year's crop. Except for breeders, the shrimp are harvested in the fall and the ponds are drained.
Typically, a lot of shrimp farms are in the near the equator. And our biggest disadvantage about being in a desert is that we have a season, which is the summertime. During the winter, we really can't raise shrimp here. That's probably the hardest part.
So it's not the heat, it's the cold.
It's the cold.
But in a year or two, Craig Emberson hopes the farm will be completely independent from the ocean anyway.
And what happens in these tanks is the males mate with the females when the lights go off. The lights are about to go off in about an hour and a half.
Only once before have scientists been able to get shrimp to mate away from the ocean. So Emberson, who has years of experience in Hawaii and Ecuador, is trying to trick the shrimp into thinking they're experiencing a Pacific sunset.
All the shrimp mate at sunset when the light is getting dim. So we trick the shrimp into thinking that it's getting dark at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. These lights go down slowly. And then 1 hour after it gets dark, that's when the males will mate with the female.
When her eggs have been fertilized, the female is transferred to a holding tank.
Well, if everything goes smooth, I hope to get at least one mating a night from the 2 tanks. And this little hatchery here in this room could produce up to 300,000 larvae a month.
The secret to growing shrimp here is water quality. And believe it or not, except when the shrimp are very young or breeding, these shrimp live on fresh water, not salt water.
You have to be more careful on the water quality. You have to check everything. You have to be almost close to perfect.
And coming from deep underground, away from a city, it is close to perfect. Better than ocean water, which increasingly harbors killing viruses. That and habitat destruction make co-owner Gary Wood claim farms like his are actually more environmentally friendly.
In the third world, in these emerging nations, what they're doing along the coast is just raping it to become shrimp ponds and farming, raising shrimp. Here in Arizona, and we're taking existing farmland, we're using the water. All the water is used, it's never discharged, it's used on the crops.
Of course, some people might say decades ago the desert was raped to create the farmland here, and the water being used is still lowering the aquifer. But there's no denying that the shrimp grow well in the Arizona sun. In fact, these ponds produce 10 times more shrimp per acre than a typical oceanside shrimp farm. According to Wood Brothers, and frankly my taste buds, because of the lack of iodine from ocean water, these shrimp also taste sweeter than ocean shrimp.
The way we raise the shrimp is a way that takes all the bitterness out of the shrimp. They don't have that bitter aftertaste.
Sold under the Desert Sweet label, these shrimp cost about a third more and are available at a number of natural food stores in Phoenix, Tucson, and Flagstaff. Wood Brothers shrimp is profitable, but in a few years, Wood Brothers hopes to help other conventional farmers in the Southwest learned to use their water to grow shrimp and plants, and then form a co-op to market the incongruously named desert sweet shrimp.
38.